Sippers, Sippets, welcome back to another episode of Pour Your Own Problems. I am your host, Mercy, and today I want to get off into you're no bigger than the program. No one is. And so I'm going to piggyback off of Omar Gooding. You may have known him from Baby Boy or the infamous TV show Smart Guy. Hilarious show, black sitcom that a lot of us grew up on. And the interesting thing that he had to say about Tahj Mowry, who was undisputedly the lead in that show. And I want to highlight some of the things that he said that applies to people today. When you see people talk about their grievances at work, what they don't like, what they not gonna put up with, what they want to do, and things of that nature, or they don't like the direction that the company is going in, the company is messing up, the company is still in the core from what the audience wants. And so I want to highlight a few things. So sippers, what's ever in your cup, remember, pour your own problems. I can't do it for you. Let's start the show.
Hey, boss, he ain't working.
Yo, I had no idea that one of the reasons why Smart Guy ended is because he wasn't getting paid, right?
Yeah, no, that's what I talked about earlier. It's just they should have paid him more because he was the lead. It's just that simple. But here's what the thing is. This is where it got me, and I cannot. And I'm sorry if I put it on him. It's not his fault that the show got canceled directly. He was right, but it's what they did and how they did it. But you just gotta know. Sometimes you gotta bite that bullet, and it sucks. It's not compromising. Oh, you just said you gotta. No. We agreed to do the show, and we all knew we'd all get paid the same thing. But why would we care? You know what I mean? It's tough. When you're the lead, there's responsibility. You have to have lawyers that get your contract situated a certain way. But he agreed. And we said after the first, they always say this, after the first year, if it's a hit, then everybody gonna get paid. That's what they always say, no matter what the show is. And we had the same contract for 3 years, bro. And it was like you sign a contract, you do year one, then it becomes a hit because you got picked up. Now you do year two, and it's a hit. So you get picked up for 3. And now halfway through season 3, you're like, this. It's like, no, you can't be halfway through. You got to say this before the season starts, bro, because I think the issue with what he did, which is, his hands were tied, and he probably figured, what else can I do? I'm gonna just not show up for work. How about that? No, man, you're disrupting too much shit. No. Make your stand before the season starts. Then there may be time to negotiate, so forth and so on, blah, blah, blah. But if the season's already going and you decide, now you're fucking shit up, bro. You know what I mean? Now you're causing problems that could have been avoided. So they're like, well, how about we just cancel your show? And it's like, and it was weird because when it happened in real time, it was like, all right, here's the script for next week. Cool. Tahj is not going to be here. What do you mean? No, there's no Tahj. So we're probably going to be heavier on like Marcus and Mo storyline. No Tahj, huh? Was he sick or something going on? Where's that? No, he's sitting out because of money issues and contract. What the? Okay, show must go on. All right, so you said more lines for us, and what are we going to do? Oh, we should all stuck together. Everybody sit out. No. Because we didn't feel the same way. Sure, was it unfair, but also goes back to what I was saying earlier, bro. Like, we're on the WB network. We're a black sitcom, one of the last. You're fortunate. You're at where you're at. Now, take what I give you, but at the same time, kind of, there's other opportunities here, but this one here, we love the job. We would never want to sit out. We love that show. All of us did. Obviously, Tahj had his issues, but I think you make your demands, you make yourself known, but then you show up to work, bro. You got to do your job. You're paid. You agreed. Yeah, but the numbers are different, and I feel this. All right, we hear you. Now go do your fucking job. No. Okay. No more job. That's simple.
Yo, I had
And that was beautifully put and said. Shout out to the art of dialogue, and shout out to Omar Gooding. Like, you gotta always maintain character and be a professional. And we can apply this to regular folks, regular life. You know, I see a lot of people using TikTok, using social media, using reels as if, you know, the internet is the new web MD. And to be quite honest, I think a lot of people are missing these type of factors, missing people that say that they wasn't running in a hive mindset of, oh dang, he gonna stand out, so I'm gonna stand out. No, because every man for himself at the end of the day, when it comes down, you don't know my problems and I don't know your problems. You don't pay my bills and I can't obviously pay your bills. But a lot of things that stood out during this segment was the fact that, hey, hold up. Hey, dog, like, we get it. You are the lead. We all getting paid the same, but you are the lead. You should be getting paid more. But why disrupt and why cause confusion during the season while y'all filming? You should negotiate that after the season or before the next season gets picked up. So you can show the numbers. You can try to renegotiate your contract. You can try to advocate for yourself and your team. But see, a lot of people want to get ahead of the curve, and I'm sorry to tell people this, but this just shows you, like, no one is bigger than the program. No one. And the fact that this was one of the last black sitcoms, and he's just bringing light to the situation. And, you know, as a kid, you wonder, like, hey, why Tahj not on there? He moved the show. He moved the needle. But now that I'm an adult, I still gotta agree with the company, the organization on this one, because no one is bigger than the program. You either can get replaced or we just shut the whole thing down. Now what? Now when you go get casted for different things or you trying to go get a new situation, that's on your resume. So while these people in this day and time getting all on the internet, talking crazy, talking reckless, hey, you put it out for the world to see. That is a part of your resume, what you put out here. So people need to be more mindful and understand you need to leave home at home, work at work, but also stay professional. Sometimes it's not going to go your way. Sometimes it's better to stand on your character than to operate because you ain't getting your way like a brat. I mean, we can look at this, for instance, like we can see this with Scott Pelley. Like let's review what Scott Pelley did when he got fired from 60 Minutes just a few days ago. Let's review.
CBS News veteran, longtime 60 Minutes correspondent Scott Pelley speaking out after he was fired over clashing with new management at the network. In a statement issued late last night, Pelley said 60 Minutes has, quote, lost its DNA when its entire senior leadership and several correspondents were recently outed. He also claimed CBS News new management instructed him to, quote, inject falsehoods and bias into a politically sensitive story, which, he says, he refused to do. Pelley was fired just a day after he accused the network's new leadership during a heated staff meeting of, quote, murdering 60 Minutes. CNN's chief media analyst, Brian Stelter, is joining us now this morning. I mean, this is almost like a clash of the titans here. He is well respected for his work, and he clearly shows no respect to those who are running 60 Minutes now. What did you learn?
And that's why this is really a crisis inside CBS News that's going to have ripple effects for quite a while. 60 Minutes usually takes a summer break, then it comes back in September. But right now, the show is missing most of its correspondents, either because they quit or they were fired. And now this network is going to be in rebuilding mode in a big way, having to figure out how to keep the program on the air. And
CBS News, in my view, is on fire.
Part of an emotional interview with the New York Times, his first since being fired from the story broadcast.
There are people in that room who go to war zones when they are pregnant. To have people running CBS News who don't know that, have never felt that, and don't understand it is a tragedy I never expected to see.
Pelley was let go after accusing Barry Weiss, the network's editor-in-chief, of murdering 60 Minutes during a closed-door staff meeting last week, railing against the decision to dismiss correspondents Sharon Alfonsi and Cecilia Vega, as well as the show's senior producers. In the hour-long sit-down, Pelley alleged editorial interference at a time when CBS's parent company, led by David Ellison, is trying to push through a $110 billion mega merger, which requires regulatory approval from the Trump administration.
As good move forward and to the right.
Pelley pointed to his February coverage of the killing of ICE protester Renee Good, alleging Barry Weiss directed his team to make the protesters look more violent and to describe Good as driving toward the officer who shot her.
There was a thumb on the scale for the president's version of events that I felt was a level of political influence that I had never seen in 37 years at CBS News.
In the end, Pelley says he refused to make Weiss's changes. In a statement to NBC News, CBS says the email from Weiss had no motivation and were proposed solely to make the piece as strong, fair, and accurate as possible. Pelley was also visibly shaken when asked about these scathing comments the president made about him.
Scott Pelley's a stiff, and he's afraid. And he's part of this, gang of crooked, stupid people that don't care about our country.
You become a journalist because you love the country. There is no democracy without journalism.
Aaron, there had been so much speculation about the three remaining correspondents, whether they would stay or go. They've made a decision. They issued a statement.
Yeah, that's right. All three, Leslie Stahl, Bill Whitaker, John Wertheim, issued this joint statement saying that they're going to be staying put for now, that they do not want to see the storied broadcast die, while also pointedly saying, quote, newsrooms are not supposed to be run like dictatorships. Now, Pelley says he hasn't talked to the remaining three since he was fired, but they previously had a conversation about the possibility of leaving. They decided to stay to uphold the principles of the broadcast. Pelley says he would have stayed had he not been fired.
And when you listen to that interview that he did with New York Times, and when you hear the rumblings, at the end of the day, Scott Pelley was wrong. You telling me you went into a meeting with new leadership and you was gonna stand on business because you thought that you had a say so in the direction and what they wanted to do. And it just goes to show you it doesn't matter your tenure. It don't matter how long you've been here. No matter how long, no matter the influence that you may have in and out of these offices, wherever you may go, you're not bigger than the program. I'm sorry. And I think a lot of people in this day and time need to really realize that it doesn't matter that you got millions. It doesn't matter that you got influence. You're not bigger than the program. And I think with Scott Pelley and, at a point in time in Tahj Mowry's life, you have to realize you work for somebody. You work for an organization. At the end of the day, You're not writing your own checks. They pay you. And if you feel that at a certain point it's not going your way, or it's not going in the direction that's best for you and your constituents, you and your people, then create your own. Create your own thing. Create your own lane. But if not, if you're going to take a job, we all have to adhere to someone. Like, you know, I know a lot of people like to say, or like to think that they're not at will employees, but essentially everyone that works a job, no matter if you're, you know, you under contract, or you making multi-millions, thousands of dollars, or you working at McDonald's, whatever the case may be, if you work for an organization that is not your own, you work for somebody. And your professionalism and your character shouldn't go out the window because you have a disdain for new management, a disdain for the new owner, or whoever it may be. That is irrelevant. You are not bigger than the program. If I don't adhere to what YouTube policies are, to what they say, then I get a strike on my channel. Correct? At the end of the day, I'm no bigger than the program. We have rules for a reason. We have decorum for a reason. And so, with that being said, I just want to say, like, people wake up and understand that I feel like the people are so emotional these days when it comes down to these businesses, when it comes down to these career jobs, and thinking that, you know, you are owed something, that we are so spoiled and entitled and act like brats, that anything we put online or anything that we disclose, that we're in the right, or how we act because of how we feel and what we want to stand up for. Like, it's like Scott Pelley standing up for his peers, his co-workers, and some of them are still not leaving. Cause why? They gotta pay their own bills. Just, it's no different from the Omar Gooding and the Smart Guy cast. So while you jumping out the window thinking that you gonna stand on business, the show must go on. The show must continue. Or we can just, we can pivot and go somewhere else. It is not your money. It is not your decision. You just work here. Bottom line. But sippers, sippets, y'all tell me how y'all feel about this in the comments. Remember to like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. It's your boy Mercy. I'm out.